When the COVID-19 crisis hit, our customers all over the world showed their resilience, innovating with SAP. With unemployment up and schools closed, millions of students and their families struggled. Gen Youth and SAP created SAP for Kids, helping families find food and free resources across the U.S. The German government needed to repatriate citizens stranded all over the globe. In 24 hours, SAP built a secure, scalable app on the SAP Cloud Platform. COVID-19 made consumer demand unpredictable. Aldara needed to store excess grain in desert conditions. On SAP Ariba Discovery, 142 suppliers responded in 3 days, and Aldara achieved a 15% savings. Faurecia SA built on their investment in digital manufacturing to keep machines connected, production lines running, and employees safe. Our customers make us proud as they respond, recover, and reimagine the future.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Suresh Venkat. I have the pleasure of being your host this evening. Welcome to the 2020 edition of the Economic Times Innovation Awards. To say that this has been a strange year would be, well, the understatement of the year. First, we thought masks were not really needed. Then we changed our minds and made masks mandatory. Then we thought there's no way a vaccine would be ready before 3 years. Now we have a candidate that's probably going to market in a few months. Overnight, experts in economics became experts in epidemiology. And now they're back to being experts in economics again. But through this black swan event, India survived. And if recent sales numbers are anything to go by, we're bouncing back with a vengeance. Luxury cars, houses, cell phones, all selling like hotcakes. Some call it revenge shopping, some call it pent-up demand. Whatever it is, sounds like good news to our ears, doesn't it? The Economic Times Innovation Awards 2020 celebrates the best of Indian innovation. From startups that disrupt established giants to large conglomerates who are learning to be nimble again, innovation cuts across categories. Innovation creates new markets, reduces costs, simplifies logistics, adds customer delight, and most importantly, increases profits. And yet, it's extremely difficult to define what exactly innovation is. Perhaps we should turn to a quote by Albert Einstein, who said, "Creativity is seeing what everyone else has seen and thinking what no one else has thought." Today, we honor 10 companies who followed Mr. Einstein's advice. They saw what everybody else saw, but they thought very differently. Where others saw adversity, they saw opportunity. Where others saw dead ends, they saw the road less traveled. When we launched the awards process this year, we received more than 1,250 nominations from 950 companies. These were filtered and shortlisted before being handed over to our esteemed jury for the final selection. The Economic Times would like to thank members of our jury who helped us pick tonight's winners. S. Ramadurai, former Vice Chairman, TCS. Dilip Sangvi, Managing Director, Sun Pharma. Pawan Goenka, Managing Director, Mahindra & Mahindra. Vidya Shah, CEO, EdelGive Foundation. Milind Atre, Professor, IIT Mumbai. And Vani Kola, Managing Director, Kalari Capital. We also thank our knowledge partner, Bain & Company, and a special thanks to our presenting sponsor, SAP Labs. We, of course, live in a virtual world these days. So as we proceed through the evening, please use the hashtag ET Innovation Awards to post updates or selfies or anything else connected to the awards tonight. To kick off proceedings, may I request Ravi Shankar Prasad, Honorable Minister for Communication, Electronics and Information Technology and Law and Justice, Government of India, to deliver the keynote address.
Ladies and gentlemen, my greetings to all of you. It is a matter of great assurance and also excitement for me that ET Innovation Award has managed to attract 1250 nominations from 950 companies, diverse and also very powerful. 9 would be awarded, which will be announced later on. But this shows that innovation is becoming a key benchmark of India's economic discourse. And nothing can be more illustrative of this than the manner in which we have faced this great COVID pandemic in the most challenging times which the humanity has encountered in the last so many decades. As I say in lighter vein, during lockdown, no rail, no highway, no air travel. But all the 3 departments were very active, be it the telecommunication in linking the country, be it the IT department, the internet penetration, or my postal department. Therefore, we also sought to innovate. Indian IT companies serve nearly 500 global fortune companies and many others in the entire globe. We had to ensure that their work is not interrupted. And we relaxed the entire norm of work from home, which still continues. And I'm very happy to learn that it has become a very robust template of India's operations during COVID. Maybe work from home become the norm itself. But I'm very pleased that India's IT operations was not interrupted at all. This India is emerging as a big fintech. This Bheem UPI touched an all-time high of 1.8 billion transactions in September 2020. This allows me to briefly reinforce our commitment for digital India. When the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji directed us to create a digital India, where ordinary Indians gets empowered with the power of technology. It must bring in digital inclusion. And thirdly, this must be through technology which is homegrown and developmental and low cost. Be it Aadhaar, be it GSTN, be it Bheem UPI, other digital platforms which we created, be it Ayushman Bharat for healthcare for poor people, rupees 5 lakh every month. But the larger issue which we encountered was digital delivery of services. And by the amalgamation of 370 million bank account, 120 million plus mobile phones, nearly 700 million internet, and 1.26 billion Aadhaar card. In the direct benefit transfer, we transferred close to 1,70,000 crores, nearly $123 billion. And we saved $23 billion. Based on that experience, you'll be happy to know that in this pandemic, we transferred 420 million poor people financial help through DBT. And my postal department too rose to the occasion. Where there is no bank or no ATM, to the Aadhaar-enabled payment system, Indian Post through their mobile app, the postman went even on boats in remote villages and delivered $850 million, close to 6,377 crores of rupees. Arogya Setu app, we have all talked about, millions of people are using it. If I wear my head as a law minister, I was very happy to note the Supreme Court did hearing of 9,000 cases, and in the other courts of India, 2.50 million hearing took place. And the trust of the people of India in the IT communication sector was evident that in spite of slowdown elsewhere, this registered a growth rate of 7.1, and even Facebook or Google or Qualcomm and other companies made major investments. But what gives me a greater assurance, and I'm thankful to Economic Times for carrying that story very effectively, that I came here wearing my hat of electronic manufacturing minister in the field of electronics. We came with a production link incentive scheme. You produce, you export, and you get the incentive. All the top companies of the world in the field of mobile and component manufacturing have applied. They have committed to make an investment of close to 1.30 billion, and manufacturer phones worth $140 billion in the coming 5 years, giving employment to 3 lakh people directly and 9 lakh indirectly. The world is trusting India, even during COVID. The production link incentive was announced by me in April. The last date was 31st of July, and the result I have indicated to you. The PM has already announced the digital health mission from the ramparts of Red Fort on the 15th of August. Very briefly, ladies and gentlemen, let me share other areas of IT ecosystem having promising record, because they propel innovation. India, with its wide, extraordinary population, human resource, and the tech-savvy temperament, is a big potential of huge data resource. Our government is very keen that India has got all the potential to become a big data economy. And we shall work in that direction in a very, very effective way. We are promoting opening of data centers. Recently, I opened the second biggest data center and the biggest of Asia in Mumbai, again the private sector. Public sector and private sector both must contribute in the data center, so that they should work together to make India a good, effective center of data cleaning, of data processing, of data innovation. And talking about Economic Times Innovation Award, I think data-linked innovation is going to have a very, very promising future. As far as data safety and security is concerned, you know we have come with a very robust data protection law after the widest consultation possible. And now it is being examined by the select committee, where there is a fine blend of innovation, of consent, respecting the privacy of individual, and also the safety and security of data. Very briefly about AI, our Prime Minister is very clear that we must promote artificial intelligence in a very, very big way. I think AI alone has the potential to contribute about $450 to $500 billion in the GDP by 2025. But as I said, Digital India for inclusion, we're equally keen that artificial intelligence must also be for inclusion, so that its fruits reach the common people. It is bereft of its elitist character. From agriculture to healthcare to fintech, financing and banking, education in particular, all can be leveraged by sound application of AI. And I would commend Economic Times that you must keep a separate innovative award to those young minds who are willing to play with AI for greater inclusive development. Our government has already have the National AI Strategy Roadmap released in 2018. We have set up centers of excellence all over the country. We have developed portal for AI. We have introduced future skills program for IT professionals. India is a founder member of the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, and the public digital platform I have already talked about. But let me also lodge certain caveats when we are talking of AI. AI must supplement the human mind, should not overtake it. But remember, ethics, human values, emotions are those elements which drive a good human development. And AI must become a supportive factor in the proliferation of these elements, leading to innovation and also delivery. The second thing is rogue states should not abuse AI for weaponization. And lastly, we have to have a proper blend. As I say sometimes in lighter vein, driverless car excites me as an IT minister. But when I wear my hat as a law minister, some concerns do arise. If a driverless car causes accident, who is responsible? The driverless car or the owner who is sitting somewhere else? These are issues which we will have to find answer. Yes, data privacy, data safety and security must be respected. And India shall never compromise on its data sovereignty. We are very clear about it. We are quite open. Let our data with consent go outside for processing. Others do come inside. But on the issue of data sovereignty, because these are emerging challenges which we'll have to consider. Very briefly, in our department, we have come with new innovation, tele law. Today, more than 3 lakh legal advice is being given by law students, by good committed lawyers through my common service centers. I encourage that and I'm very happy on the results. My common service center, our digital kiosks, they were just 80,000. Now I have raised it to nearly 4 lakhs. Nearly 12 lakh boys and girls work there, giving digital payment to digital literacy, to making passport, to railway ticketing. Many of them are now being summoned and involved also in the economic mapping of India, in the survey of India. I'm creating entrepreneurs in the remotest parts of India. And I visit them, I encourage them. Now they are being involved in the implementation of the optical fiber network to every villages of India. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sure that these skilled communication infrastructure foot soldiers would become a great, I would say, carriers of India's innovative enterprise in the coming years. I'm very clear about one thing more. I don't want to talk about my other innovations of MyGov to digital locker. All of you will know that. The spectrum sharing, the spectrum trading, all these things, the right-of-way rules, which we have changed in our various other obligations in telecom sector, opening the communication sector for FDI, also promotion, innovation. I'm very happy that now there is some stability in the telecom sector. 4G is becoming the real benchmark. It has become already. I'm very keen that India must have its own 5G products. And it gives me good assurance that many players are working very sincerely in that regard. Very briefly, ladies and gentlemen, the PM has talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat is not an isolated India. Atmanirbhar Bharat in simple term means an India as a robust economy being a part of global economy, global supply chain. And we want globally competitive companies to come to India. And I can assure you today, I can tell you today, which I have not spoken, but I'm speaking for the first time, but you all have reported already. During COVID pandemic pressures, about 8-9 Apple companies units moved from China to India. Now, this is the trust which India is developing. I see newer interest and hope in India's human resource investment, encouraging policies, our leadership, our democracy, our open society. India is world number 1 in mobile app economy in terms of downloads. I have said, let this download must become also terms of mobile uploads. This Chunauti Grand Challenge. What is this? Let innovators should come from small towns, from the kasbas of India. And I'm happy to share with you, we have received 1,820 interesting innovation solutions. We'll pick up the best and give them rupees 25 lakh encouragement. Now, common service centers in the hinterland of India, Chunauti in the hinterland of India. Earlier, I came with the idea of BPOs in small towns of India. And today, close to 400 BPOs are operating in various parts of the country, including 9 in my own city of Patna and other Muzaffarpur. Young boys and girls from rural background are becoming active participants in that. We're very clear, ladies and gentlemen, that if India is to become a truly digital society in terms of digital economy, digital empowerment, digital innovation, then it must also be inclusive. And this will become inclusive only when I welcome Noida, Gurgaon, Gurugram, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad. But digital empowerment and innovation should be beyond. It must go to the small towns, to the kasbas of India. And the way I move everywhere during campaign, I ask everywhere if they are having the smartphone in the remotest part. They keep on clicking my photograph when I count the helicopter in my election campaign in my state. I've taken a break for this function today. I asked them, how many of you are on Facebook? Oh my goodness, thousands of them raised their hands. This is an aspirational India waiting to be explored in the hinterland of India. I am very clear, ladies and gentlemen, that this innovative spirit which Economic Times is promoting is indeed a welcome development. But again, let me repeat, have the best innovation from as many companies as possible, but you also become inclusive. Encourage innovators who are sitting in the small towns and kasbas of India, who have a dream, who have a mobile in their hand, who have a vision and courage to explore. Let Economic Times also give them a hand of encouragement. I'm very happy that Economic Times thought of me to be the guest today. I'm a well-wisher of Economic Times. You're doing a great job. You're becoming the authentic voice. And I want to share something very interesting to Economic Times management today, that the foreign investors always tell me that whenever you announce some major policy initiative, you look towards Economic Times. That is the credibility you all have met. Keep it up. Thank you. Namaste. My greetings to all of you.
Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad there talking about driverless cars, data sovereignty and public-private partnership amongst many other things. Minister, your point about using AI for inclusion and reaching out to the bottom of the pyramid are very well taken. Thank you. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, the Economic Times Innovation Awards seek to identify and reward innovation across business models, processes, products and technology. We are looking at innovations that have hit the market and made an impact, not just ideas on a drawing board. I know, we're all excited to hear about the winners, so let's get started. Our first category is business model innovation. The category focuses on new models of delivering products or services to the customer. It may include innovation in the profit model, the consumption model, operating model, or any other aspect of a company's business model. Here are the nominees.
In the category Business Model Innovation, the nominees are FinServe Markets. For FinServe Markets, a marketplace for multiple financial products and services. EmoCare, for creating a complete package for emotional health at schools. RPG Group, for their Drones Go to Work initiative. TATA Consultancy Services, for their Skin in the Game pricing model. And Tata Power, for their Know Your Electricity Consumption initiative. May we please request Ravi Shankar Prasad, Minister for Communication, Electronics and Information Technology and Law and Justice, Government of India, to please announce the winners.
The winner for Business Model Innovation 2020 is Bajaj Finserv Direct.
Hello everyone. It's a privilege to be conferred with Economic Times Business Model Innovation Award. On behalf of Bajaj Finserv and the young 2-year-old team of Finserv Markets, I want to thank Economic Times and the esteemed jury for honoring us with this award. So what does business model innovation mean to us? It means we innovate for the customer by curating a set of financial services products and solutions which we offer on our marketplace. And at the same time, we also need to deliver a highly successful platform business model. We work with a large set of partners who help us in meeting all these customers' needs across loans, insurance, payments, investments, and an EMI store wherein we offer a large set of lifestyle products. Finally, it is the hard work, perseverance, and passion of our young employees who have the ability to use digital technologies in delivering a personalized experience to our customers on our marketplace. This award motivates us to continue on our journey of innovation. Thank you once again, and looking forward to seeing you all on our Finserv Markets platform and the marketplace.
Congratulations, Team Finserv Markets. Next, we have our category for process innovation. In this category, we looked at new methods or models in operations or supply chain that drive competitive advantage. This could mean cheaper, faster, higher quality, higher productivity, or all of the above. Here are the nominees.
In the category Process Innovation, the nominees are Bajaj Allianz for implementing a mobile app-based tech process for agents, HSBC Technology for their Shunya Zero Defect initiative, STERLITE Power Transmission for implementing Skyrob, a semi-autonomous robot, TATA Capital for enabling their digital lending platform to process lending to SMEs, and Tata Power for implementing an IoT-enabled monitoring system.
The winner of Process Innovation 2020 is STERLITE Power Transmission.
On behalf of the STERLITE Power family, I'm delighted to accept this award of the ET Innovation 2020. We're absolutely delighted and honored to receive this award. At STERLITE Power, we believe that our core purpose is to bring power to the last 2 billion people in the world who yet don't have access to reliable power. We find that this is no longer a generation problem, it's as much a transmission and distribution problem. As the world goes on to solve this challenge, it also has another problem of fighting climate change. So how does one deliver power, uninterrupted power, to the last 2 billion people while at the same time keeping global warming at under 2 degrees? This is only possible with heavy innovation, not just in generation, but also in T&D. Today, we are delighted to be recognized for our work on Skyrob. Skyrob is an in-house technology that we built, which allows us to lay optical fibers on existing high-tension transmission lines while improving safety dramatically and also increasing efficiency. This optical fiber, in turn, makes the grid smarter and also helps with digitizing communities around the world. We are delighted because these accolades like this encourage us to work harder and harder, question the status quo, change the rules of the game, and move us inch by inch towards our vision and mission of delivering power to 2 billion people around the world. Thank you very much, Economic Times. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sterlite Power Transmission Limited. Now, Infosys founder N.R. Narayan Murthy once said, "Every day our most precious assets leave at 5 p.m. and come back the next day at 9 a.m. People are at the very core of any business. People drive innovation, but what drives people? That's exactly what our next category is about, people innovation. This category looked at all the initiatives designed to enable better teaming, collaboration, development, or clear, measurable improvement in the experience of people. Here are the nominees.
In the category People Innovation, the nominees are Amazon India for implementing Alexa as a work assistant, Cummins for their SkillPod system, JSW Global Business Solutions for introducing HumBot, Sony Pictures for Dastangoi, an alternate learning technique for content creators, and Tech Mahindra for implementing K2, a facial recognition-based humanoid.
The winner of People Innovation 2020 is Amazon India and Tech Mahindra.
Hello all, we are thrilled to hear that our experiment with the Alexa pod at the Hyderabad campus has been selected as People Innovation of the Year at the ET Innovation Awards 2020. As we expand in India, it is critical that we help our employees, especially our new hires, get access to information in a friction-free manner. This helps them integrate easily into our culture, understand our best practices and our leadership principles that guide us every step of the way. Now, when we inaugurated the Hyderabad campus last year, the team decided to experiment with Alexa. They decided to develop an inside day one Alexa skill that answers varied questions ranging across leave policy, new hire tips, our leadership principles, and even just information about the campus. I'm thrilled to share with you that as part of the pilot, the Alexa pod has already answered thousands of questions from many Amazonians. With employees now working from home, this skill is easily accessible by them on their smartphones through the Alexa app. What we're noticing is that voice is becoming an effective way to simplify the lives of our employees, and especially that's true in the current times. We continue to iterate on this experience and expand it broadly. Thank you, Economic Times, for this recognition. I'm sure it will inspire our teams to continuously improve and scale this experience.
Thank you, the Economic Times, for recognizing Tech Mahindra as the winner of the People Innovation of the Year award. On behalf of 125,000 Tech Mighties and all my board members, it genuinely is a strong dose of motivation. It motivates us because to us, the differentiator of Tech Mahindra has always been how we innovate, how we deliver value to our employees, and more importantly, how we converge together innovation and people to make a unique customer experience. Thank you again for recognizing the fundamental traits of Tech Mahindra. We indeed are happy, and on behalf of everyone, one more way of saying gracias and allow us to continue to celebrate innovation, continue to celebrate a connected experience, allow us to celebrate a virtual world, but converging together with people and innovation. So thank you, Economic Times.
Congratulations, Amazon India. Congratulations, Tech Mahindra, for all the good work focusing on your teams. Now, you just heard C.P. Gurnani and Amit Agarwal talk about how delivering value to your employees results in delivering value to your customers. Wise words. Let's move on. Our next category for the evening is new product or service innovation. This category looked at innovative offerings recently launched that are clearly differentiated from competitors. Take a look at the nominees.
In the category New Product or Service Innovation, the nominees are Stump, Shul and Somapa for developing an indigenous precision sniper weapons platform for the Indian Armed Forces. Dozy for developing AI-enabled technology that tracks important clinical parameters. RateGain Technologies for leveraging AI, ML and image recognition for simpler distribution of rates and inventory. Runaya Refining for developing an environmentally friendly metal recovery process. And Sahajanan Technologies for introducing AI-based robotics for diamond cutting.
The winner of New Product or Service Innovation 2020 is Doji.
Thanks a lot, ET, for choosing us for this award. I'll use this platform to also thank my entire team for getting us where we are. It has taken a tremendous amount of effort in getting Dozy to this level. We started almost 5 years back with a very simple vision of simplifying healthcare, making it more accessible for not just people of India, but even outside as well. In the testing times like COVID, in fact, we were able to deliver a lot of our promises as well by empowering multiple COVID care centers, hospitals, home healthcare services with our step-down ICU services. Given this platform recognition, our resolution is even more profound to serve the nation further. Thanks a lot for giving this award again.
Congratulations, Team Dozy. Well done indeed. Our next category is marketing and brand innovation. In this category, we looked at changes in positioning, placement, brand and advertising that create additional value or efforts that impacted customer experience or interactions at the point of purchase. Take a look at the nominees.
In the category Marketing and Brand Innovation, the nominees are HDFC Bank for hyper-personalizing HDFC Bank Easy EMI branding. Kotak General Insurance for their preferential price insurance model for women drivers. Perfetti India for their campaign to increase sales of mints. The Man Company for their Gentleman in You campaign. And Vodafone Idea for using IoT SIMs to identify pollution areas.
The winner of Marketing and Brand Innovation 2020 is HDFC Bank.
I humbly accept this award on behalf of all my colleagues at HDFC Bank. The convergence of telecommunication, computing, and media has changed the way we work, play, and live. The secular shift in technology, telecommunication, social mobility, artificial intelligence gave an opportunity for firms to change their business model. Using this shift, the firms that did that were able to provide a more personalized product to the customer, reduce their expenditure, as well as ensure good delivery time and again. These were the Amazons and the Netflix and the Google and the Apple Pays of the world. And they went on to have a market cap of billions of dollars. The others who said we have the brand and the distribution and ignored this change because brand innovation as well as product innovation is linked, actually were blown out of the water. Those were the HMVs, the Borders, the Nokias, etc. So what has happened really is that this change that has come about has allowed companies to add characteristics to their brand, change their marketing, improve their sales, and come out ahead. HDFC Bank realized the same, that they could use this secular shift. So what we did was we changed from a banking experience to a personal experience. That is, we said we don't want to be only a bank. Our customer today can bank with us, he can get a loan, he can shop at probably the best prices possible, he can do his uh, planning of his portfolio, he can buy and sell shares, he can buy third-party products, he can pay tax. So it is a complete experience. We also said that we want to give him frictionless service and allow him to use our products through a channel of his choice, whether it was a mobile phone, it was a laptop, or through the branch. And we would give it to him like the generation now wants now. So we introduced our 10-second loans right across the spectrum, and we introduced frictionless service. So what this did fundamentally is that the change we brought about in the service offering and the experience improved brand salience and brought about top of mind recall because it changed the experience for the customer. At the same time, we improved our trust because automatic delivery straight through processing resulted in our providing our brand promise time and time and time again. We also used this same ability because it gave us much further reach to improve our financial inclusion and give back to society. So all these three combined have positioned us exceedingly well, and we've been enjoying the benefits. I had requested our Chief of Marketing, Mr. Ravi Santanam, to accept the award on my behalf because he was the team leader of Team HDFC Bank. So what I would like to end by saying that we are very thankful for the award. We also feel that we're very happy that we changed our understanding and brought about that brand innovation, product innovation, marketing, customer experience is all linked to provide better service and better value to shareholders. I wish ET all the best for the function. Thank you.
Congratulations, HDFC Bank. Mr. Aditya Puri there talking about the importance of staying ahead of the technology curve or risking becoming obsolete, and the importance of going from a banking experience to a customer experience. Thank you, Mr. Puri. A huge congratulations to all our winners and nominees so far. Clearly, you guys have done a tremendous job. Just want to remind all of you to use the hashtag ET Innovation Awards to post updates and spread the good word. Before we move on to our next categories, let's pause for a moment to hear from Sindhu Gangadharan, Senior Vice President and Managing Director, SAP Labs India.
Good evening, everyone. The world around us is changing. Overnight, the coronavirus changed the way we ran our professional and personal lives. The pandemic has made many businesses realize the need to accelerate their digital goals. The very rapid and abrupt changes caused by the pandemic has necessitated business leaders to look at better ways to address three crucial issues: enhancing their business process, building a robust supply chain, and ensuring an uninterrupted remote work environment. Three critical issues that only technology can address. Therefore, the goal of all organizations, irrespective of their size, is to use technology to be more efficient, more effective, and sustainable. Digital transformation, therefore, is no more a catchphrase but an immediate imperative. That said, while the virus is dominating our lives and news, I'm taking this opportunity to talk about one topic that's very close to my heart, an issue that needs massive collaborative effort and commitment. That topic is a sustainable future, a future which will depend on the actions we all take today. The pandemic has proven that the world can rally around quickly and combine efforts to mitigate a crisis. That is the kind of collaborative effort that we need from leaders across all sections of the society to make the world more sustainable. At SAP, we are committed to taking part in this mission by finding solutions for a sustainable future. So earlier this year, we announced the Climate 21 program to support enterprises to be ready for the emerging business reality where sustainability is a strategic and an economic imperative. SAP is embedding sustainability into analytics and transactional applications and into minimize the CO2 emissions. Our goal is to help companies be profitably sustainable and sustainably profitable, as our SAP CEO Christian Klein says. Since 70% of the world's transactions touch an SAP system in some way, we have a significant influence on the global economy. Now, with this power also comes responsibility. Embedding sustainability as a new dimension of success into analytical and transactional applications allows ERP and intelligent enterprise systems from SAP to optimize resources not only of an individual enterprise but across value chains for the entire product lifecycle. So let's join hands to pave the way for a better tomorrow. Now, since SAP entered the R&D space in India back in 1998, we have grown into becoming the second largest R&D facility for SAP outside our headquarters. By embracing innovation, we deliver cutting-edge technologies and build close relationships with our customers, partners, as well as the industry ecosystem. Innovation has been core to our survival, and with this partnership with Economic Times, we attempt to create a benchmark for the industry on innovation. I thank the esteemed jury, all the nominees, Economic Times, Bain & Co. for being a part of this event. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Sindhu. And now we move on to our next category for the evening, AI innovation. In this category, we look at the application of artificial intelligence and advanced analytics to drive better business outcomes at scale. Here are the nominees.
In the category AI innovation, the nominees are Drona Maps for its enterprise platform for geospatial analytics, HDFC Bank for deploying an analytics model that generates insights from bank statements, RateGain Technologies for their new offering Smart Distribution, Tata Steel for reducing carbon emission by minimizing scrap generation, and Tech Mahindra for introducing an AI-driven marketplace, Talent Exchange.
The winner of AI Innovation 2020 is Drona Maps.
Hi, I'm Utkarsh Singh from Drona Maps, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the team at the Economic Times for this wonderful recognition. We're really proud of being able to serve our country by deploying large-scale drones across the country and gathering billions of points of data in geospatial intelligence across urban, rural, and agricultural landscapes. We were enabled on a very large scale to be able to perform across the country at 600 different service points and 7 different states by organizations like NASSCOM, to whom we'd like to dedicate this award to. They've been our ardent supporters and really long time helpers who have really helped us scale out across the entire country. The combination of AI and analytics that we've developed to be able to address large-scale problems using drones help us to capture data at a scale which is truly unprecedented about 5 to 10 years ago. And that has given us the ability to develop insights which are really helpful to farmers and citizens of the country. An example of which was the recent announcement by our Honorable Prime Minister Modi, who announces Swamitva Yojana and the ability to give property cards to all the farmers. Schemes like this are helping our country, and the data at which level we are capturing is going to be truly transformational thanks to NASSCOM, the Economic Times, and all of our supporters. Thank you.
Congratulations, Drona Maps, for a job well done. One of the biggest challenges humanity is going to face over the next century is the challenge of climate change. Humanity needs to find sustainable solutions and find them quickly. It's only fitting then that our next award category is Innovation to Drive Sustainability. Now, in this category, we looked at the efforts that seek to reduce negative environmental impact of a company's operations. Here are the nominees.
In the category Innovation to Drive Sustainability, the nominees are A2P Energy Solution, for using AI and ML to optimize agricultural straw collection. BioD Energy, for creation of biodiesel as a substitute to normal diesel. Flipkart, for development of a low-cost recycled paper-based packaging wrap. MP Mining and Energy, for an innovation allowing the recycling and value addition of metallic fines. And the Fee Factory, for developing a sustainable packaging technology, GFP.
The winner of Innovation to Drive Sustainability 2020 is the Fee Factory.
Thank you, Economic Times and the entire jury for bestowing this great honor upon us. I'm extremely happy and glad to accept this award on behalf of the entire team at the Fee Factory. As our friend Paul Coleman rightly says, this is an era of purposeful businesses. We at Fee Factory strive to contribute to both environment and economy with each and every of our products. Our first product, GFP, which is a paper additive, has a potential to save 3 well-grown trees for every ton of craft paper produced. In the first 2 years of operation, we have produced around 2,500 tons of GFP-graded craft paper, which means we have saved 7,500 trees globally from being consumed into paper form. With the motivation received from this award, we are confident to continue the momentum and the spirit of innovation. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to the Fee Factory. And thank you, Meghna Reddy Jale, for showing us that you can create a paper business and save 7,500 trees in a year. Now that is truly business with a purpose. Now, for those of you who are setting up innovation departments in your companies, here's the bad news. Innovation cannot be a department in your organization. To be truly successful, your entire organization needs to imbibe the spirit of innovation. That's why our next category is called, quite simply, the most innovative company. Here are the nominees.
In the category Most Innovative Company, the nominees are Bajaj Allianz, for implementing a mobile app-based tech process for agents. Flipkart, for the Super Coins initiative. RPG Group, for Zensa's Omnicon, a conversational bot. STERLITE Power Transmission, for implementing Skyrob, a semi-autonomous robot. And TATA Power, for implementing an IoT-enabled monitoring system for remote substations.
The winner of the Most Innovative Company 2020 is RPG Group.
Honorable Minister, members of the jury, and friends, we are delighted that we have been selected for this prestigious award on behalf of all the innovators at RPG, and I would like to thank the ET Innovation Awards and the jury for appreciating the spark in our creative efforts. We are truly humbled by this honor. The formal innovation agenda at RPG was seeded in 2016 when we launched our new vision to unleash talent, touch lives, outperform, and be happy. We began with about 500 to 600 teams across the group that were given business-wise themes. The momentum generated by this initiative was unprecedented as young minds showcased so much talent and diversity of thought. Today, this movement has spiraled and innovation is becoming a way of life at RPG as we showcase a large number of ideas in our annual Innovation Festival. Be it a product innovation, business model, or process innovation, our philosophy on innovation is based on the tenet of making a positive impact on business, our customers, and our communities. We do try to make a genuine effort to keep things simple through creativity. The objective is to make it a habit as a part of our culture instead of being reactive or accidental. It is not always necessary that innovation has to be radical. We also cherish the basic efficiency-centric process innovations. Additionally, we have also institutionalized a special category for recognizing failed innovation, which we call supernova, and is equally celebrated amongst our victories. Our innovation initiatives motivate us, and the pursuit of harnessing distinctly different ideas from different minds help us in creating a work environment that is progressive and exciting. Dealing with COVID in our group companies and for finding quick solutions for community has tested our innovation capability. Our teams put their creativity to use to innovate a remote temperature thermal scanning instrument, which also registers attendance. And we also have innovated a digital social distancing tool. We also quickly co-created a low-cost ventilator, which we gave to many hospitals in the country. These are just a few examples of how our innovation capability has been put to use in these recent difficult times. India has certainly been the hub of global innovation, and we can all be proud of the numerous stories of innovation that we hear of in Indian industry. We have followed in the footsteps of great innovators in our country, and we are conscious of a larger purpose that is at the core of driving innovation. And I'm hopeful that these achievements continue to inspire us to push the limits. Thank you, and congratulations to all the innovators who were part of this excellent initiative by ET Awards.
And a big congratulations to the RPG group. Harsh Goenka there, talking about making innovation simple, making innovation a habit, and making innovation a part of company culture. Thank you, Mr. Goenka, for the inspiration. And now, for our final category for the evening. Now, startups, by definition, have to be innovative. They don't have the capital or the muscle that large companies have. They're also hungry, young, and nimble. The fight for being the most innovative startup was a hard-fought fight. The jury had a tough time picking the winner of the most innovative startup. Here are the nominees.
In the category Most Innovative Startup, the nominees are Griddle, for their client lifecycle management software for agencies and freelancers. High Care Services, for introducing India's first 4X cockroach control services. Hurry Tech Ventures, for their IoT devices that deliver educational digital content to the last mile. MP Mining and Energy, for an innovation allowing the recycling and value addition of metallic fines. RateGain Technologies, for leveraging AI, ML and image recognition for simpler distribution of rates and inventory. And the Fee Factory, for developing a sustainable packing technology, GFP.
The winner of Most Innovative Startup 2020 is RateGain.
I want to thank the esteemed jury and the Honorable Minister for presenting this award to us, and it would be my honor to accept this on behalf of RateGain. This is really a testament to all the hard work and commitment of each member of the RateGain team. Innovation is critical at such a time when our industry has been struggling with the pandemic. Business models are turned upside down, and innovation is required not just from a technology perspective, but also reinventing new business models. And history has shown us that these are the times that companies that invest and double down on innovation and differentiation really become the breakthrough companies of tomorrow. As we continue to create impact for over 250,000 hotels and every major blue chip travel and hospitality company, we have decided at RateGain that we're going to double down on innovation through our new initiative called RG Labs. We're using robust AI ML models to help our customers acquire and retain their customers. RateGain's core is to provide revenue maximization opportunities to the hospitality and travel industry. And today we have a bigger responsibility of creating innovative solutions that help the industry tide through the crisis. But we are also hoping that we'll help the industry capitalize on the demand as the recovery happens. We want to thank ET Innovation. We believe they've been playing a critical role in honoring companies like RateGain, and we'd like to thank them for this opportunity.
Congratulations, RateGain. Bhanu Chopra of RateGain there talking about why companies should double down on their innovation efforts in times of crisis. Thank you, Bhanu. And a big congrats to all our nominees and winners for the evening. But we're not done just yet. In fact, we've got something really cool lined up for you. We have with us today the Woz himself. Yes, you heard me right. We have Steve Wozniak, Silicon Valley icon, tech entrepreneur, philanthropist, and most importantly, co-founder of Apple Computer, here with us today. Steve is going to be in conversation with Bodhisattva Ganguly, executive editor of the Economic Times. Over to you, Bodhi.
Welcome to the second edition of the ET Innovation Awards. Thanks to all of you for joining us. I'm honored to be speaking to the great Steve Wozniak, the legendary Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple. I'd like to welcome Steve to the event. Steve, thank you so much for doing this and for agreeing to take a few questions from me, as well as a group of Indian CEOs. So, good evening, Steve. Thank you so much for doing this and for agreeing to speak at this ET Innovation Awards. We've already had a past association with you at past events. Once again, welcome back to the Economic Times, India's largest business newspaper. So I'll just start off with perhaps expectedly with a COVID-related question, which is that do you feel how do you feel technology and innovation have been used by governments and businesses in dealing with COVID across the world, and could things have been done better?
We go in steps almost always when we're trying to develop new technology and things that didn't exist before. And especially if you're a free thinker like I am, you think, oh my gosh, how am I going to, give people more than they had? I always care more about the lower level person compared to the higher level. The consumer I favor over the company that makes all the choices and decisions for them. And, to me, that's a real true freedom. And so, when the internet came, it was just a godsend. My gosh, here we have this whole new world and it's not controlled by any government. And we can just communicate with each other. We can share our knowledge. We can share our experiences. This was unbelievable. You could even publish information that without having to go through a third-party profit-making bookseller. This was great. And then over time, wound up that instead of having an internet that's the world, first I thought, I was brought up and taught that, well, outer space is outer space and no country can own it. And the moon, no country could own it. These kind of principles were dear to me. And all of a sudden the internet kind of gets owned country by country by country. And it's like, 200 different internets. in a way, and everyone can be turned on and off easily at the drop of a switch, and services can be ignored just because they're from some country that we don't like or whatever. So I think that's too bad. Now, as far as I spoke in terms of freedom, government now, here's this internet, it's a better way to watch us and control us, which is what I thought we were getting away from and escaping to some small extent. And as good, responsible people, we turn out good, and we weren't all good and responsible. But now tight controls, and even by third parties, like Facebook, have so much control over us, our lives, and watching us and making money off exploring it. And it's like we've lost a lot of something important, which is, do you own the things you buy? I used to buy a vacuum cleaner, put it in a closet, protect it for 40 years. It does its job forever. You own things, and now you have to subscribe to a service and pay monthly. And the business models of today have unfortunately gone in that direction. And that's true of a lot of these different, internet sources. Get you hooked on a habit, and this is the way you can communicate, but now you're being paid for. But we're watching you. And if we told you how much that data is worth and said, you can pay this much per month and we won't watch you, we won't track any of your data, we won't share your likes with advertisers, that would be choice. That would be good for the people. We don't have that, and that's what we really need.
But how do you ensure that? I mean, you're talking about. I mean, what you seem to be saying is that the internet right now is in a bad place compared to. There's obviously all the problems of addiction and so on and so forth, and etc. So how do you resolve these issues? What is the way forward?
Well, the way forward probably comes from certain types of regulation that my information about my likes, my wants in life, my values should not be sold to advertisers. I should at least be given a chance to pay a certain amount of money, like for Apple, iCloud is $2 a month, and your information is privatized and it isn't shared. And I would like at least that choice on other platforms. When you take what choice is equivalent to wealth, and as a consumer, we've lost a lot of our wealth by not having choice.
Steve, so may I now request Sanjeev Bajaj? He's the chairman and managing director of Bajaj Finserv, which is a very large consumer financing company and also an insurance company. Sanjeev will ask a question to Steve.
Pleasure interacting with you, Steve, even though it's virtual. You have been an innovator from the early days at Apple to the various initiatives that you're now involved in. Now, we know that sometimes innovation is about breakthroughs in technology. Other times, it's about leveraging new methods of distribution, including the digital platforms that have come up. And some create consumer intuitive products, which may not have the latest technologies built in, but just the delivery is innovative. I would like to ask you, in your opinion, for a consumer products or services business, what are the capabilities that you think should be built to drive innovation? Thank you.
Well, all my life of technology, I've sort of watched, what wins and what loses, and attracting consumers. It's a marketing concept, and I'm not really a marketeer. And sometimes I feel a market in myself. But I wish that we had products that succeed, in my mind, that succeed the best, are ones that feel more like a human, something I want to use as a human, like a human friend in the way it addresses me. So I get very much involved with the user interface and its quality. And, is it difficult, messed up, or is it simple and sophisticated at the same time and elegant? Steve Jobs used to use those words too. So we should focus on how can I really not have all the things there in a jumbled format, but what format kind of makes sense and is more like a human. Look at when we even moved to the Macintosh and the mouse-based computers. Humans see things in 2 dimensions. Human has a job to do and has to memorize how to do it or see a bunch of suggested words called menus. A human can see an icon, a picture of a paintbrush, and they know what to do. Very human technology treats you like a human friend would and says, oh, you seem to be having trouble doing this. Here's what you might want to try, or would you like me to do it for you? I very much like it when they, understand you as a human. Now, is the importance of the technology or the human, which is more important? And I think good people always say the human is more important than the technology. And what that means is we should put the effort into the technology we create to make it work so that humans work in standard human ways. For example, we didn't call the Macintosh screen the Lisa screen before. We didn't call it a screen. We called it a desktop where you could lay windows of pages of paper, things that were desktop was a concept that was human. It wasn't like we took the computerization out of it. We made great breaks in those days towards humanity away from being more important than technology. And to this day, I see a lot of products come out and they sell themselves, all the bloggers and the gadget people and feature. And if they're difficult to use, I don't really wind up feeling as good about them as when I get the one that this one just went together and it just worked beautifully. That's the highlight of my life. So I hope we see more of that in the future.
Thank you, Steve, for that answer. Thank you, Sanjeev, for asking the question. The next question is from Gopal Vittal. He is the Managing Director and CEO, India and South Asia of Bharti Airtel Limited, which is a very large cellular phone company and also an internet service provider.
Hi, Woz. You founded Apple back in 1976 with Steve Jobs. If you had to start something fresh today and you were a young Woz, what would that be?
Well, Steve and I were both very focused on the consumers. And also, I was focused in my entire life on home appliances, normal things in normal homes that people do and use. So this gets us into the Internet of Things world, whether it's, specialized, thermostats and cameras, security cameras and that sort of thing. Probably look around homes and try to interface that. But then we started with a computer, which was a platform that others could build on and add things to. And that generally you have a platform at the top of a whole bunch of things that get applied to it. So we might look around for a platform, and obvious platforms are, well, let's say things like self-driving cars. That's so complicated. Software has gotten to such a huge level. I don't think young Steve Jobs and myself would have tended to go in that direction unless we had some prior experience there. Now, as far as, we look around the home and say, well, what is something that could be a platform? It might be a standardized language that Internet of Things devices can talk to each other and figure out and work things out within the home themselves. It might be ways to make Internet of Things devices not attached to the internet, but be local and be smart enough among themselves and have one attachment that is your own computer, say, to sources on the internet. Go out and explore, and you can go to various standard agencies and sites and pull down the data, and with computer learning, we can figure out a lot of their formats and know how to make sense of it and bring up information that on my device might need without having to go through third parties, which is complicated and expensive. So I think we'd be thinking in terms of how do we make something that's useful for people, but less expensive than before, and it's a general concept that could be applied. Maybe it's that computer that reaches to the internet for the devices, for what your devices in your home needs. I would hope so.
Thank you, Gopal. Thank you, Steve, for that extremely interesting answer as always. Steve, the next question is from Sindhu Gangadharan. Sindhu is the Senior Vice President, Managing Director of SAP Labs India. Sindhu will now ask a question.
Hi, Steve. My question to you is as follows. So Apple revolutionized computing through personal desktops. Now, from your perspective, what similar innovation would be needed to make Industry 4.0 accessible, consumable, and mainstream for all industries? Now, the reason I'm asking this question is because in India, small and medium enterprises are one of the vital drivers behind the country's economic growth.
That's funny because that is where Apple started, which is with the first spreadsheet. small businessmen could come in. They'd never thought about getting an expensive computer and what can a computer do for my little business. And they would learn it with a spreadsheet. They could do forecasting a year ahead that would take them, months on paper. They could do it in just half an hour or an hour. So, it's obviously something that moves them further than they could. We have so many people that are creating so many applications, and Salesforce things and whatever that apply to small business. It's difficult to think of a brand new one that doesn't exist. That's the job for science fiction writers, and then it's risky. Which ones will go and which ones won't? Small businesses, even like big businesses, get used to what they have been buying and how it works. And all the managers are used to having to create the forms they need and whatever and get the data they need. And to switch to a whole new method, very difficult. It's got to have huge benefits and be very low cost, at least at first.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Sindhu, for that question. So I'll just switch back to some questions of my own. Just taking off from some of the themes that you mentioned at the beginning. Would you agree with, it seems to an outside observer that you have four or five giant corporations. You have obviously Apple itself, Amazon, Microsoft and Google, right? And you have also a big bunch of big Chinese companies. Is it your sense, and there's also been a fair amount of academic literature on this, but what I'm trying to come at is that would it be difficult for a new Apple to come up to which might challenge any of these four giants in their areas today?
I think it should be as easy as it's ever been and not formidable. And the reason is Apple came from a place of just natural curiosity that we all have. Here's something in life. Here's something I can do a little better. Here's something I have skills at. Here is something I value. I'm going to add more to it. And the trouble is you can't predict these huge things that come from nowhere. Apple coming from two small kids. In the early days, all the big computer companies said it wouldn't go. And that was sort of the story that was being told in, widespread. So it's very difficult to predict in advance, even while it's happening, until all of a sudden you turn the knee of a curve and, oh my gosh, everything exponentially went our way. So it's difficult, to be a science fiction writer and say, here's a new technology, a new type of battery, and here's what it's going to lead to. And it might, and then something else might come along. When I worked at Apple, I could generally predict the future of technology a year in advance because I was working on the next year's project. But if I ever tried to predict 2 years from now, here's what we'll be doing, somebody else would come up with different approaches from the outside, and oh my gosh, that would get accepted by all. And so it's very difficult to even think 2 years ahead when you're working in an industry. And I like to be an engineer and sort of say, here's what we can do now. And it's so hard to predict. Look, Microsoft coming from a couple of kids out of college, and Apple and a couple of kids out of college, and Google just barely out of college. And all these huge companies generally started with younger people that weren't hung up with the traditional ways, the status quo, how it's done today, and were willing to take that leap. They believed in it and didn't really even feel the risk. Didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm risking everything on this. But obviously there was a lot of risk. One of the reasons we were able to pull that off in those early days is the big industry didn't know the market for small computers. Why not? Well, their market research was done by asking their users of larger computers, would you want a small one? And no, that won't do our job at all. So they didn't see a market that you sort of had to feel of normal people, dentists, doctors, students, teachers, everybody in life, even engineers would want this sort of device. So you can't really predict what's going to be the next real big, huge hit. It's really interesting to watch it after it happens.
Right. But just to follow up on that, I mean, as you said, one way to innovate is to create a market which doesn't exist, or what might have been a niche market and then expand it dramatically, and the established market leaders don't know what has hit them. But what seems to be happening, the dynamics of the last 10 and 15 years, is that the moment you can do that and reach a certain size, but then one of the big four buy you out. Facebook and Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp, all the antitrust, most of the antitrust theories are about that. So what's your reaction to that? That you can reach a certain size, but then one of the big four buy you out?
Yeah, I have a negative perception of that in terms of size of big companies, monopoly power, antitrust, which means getting rid of competition. But a lot of times they'll buy up. Okay, Facebook buys Oculus for $1 billion, and the people who developed Oculus, my gosh, that's their win. So it's not like they all of a sudden just got consumed for nothing.
Sure.
So in some cases, really good amounts get paid for what they've done, and they feel great because now we have resources to move on and develop our next great thing. Right. So the small developer, I don't feel is extremely hurt. There's some places that, I can't develop something and it becomes another Apple of my own. I created something major and big that gets maybe I just created something I'm good at and it becomes a little part of something someone else really gets the credit for and the name for, and all I get is money for it. So it depends on your own personality and what you want in life, what makes you happy.
So do you think, for instance, and this could happen perhaps if a Democratic administration is in power, do you think that let's say, Facebook's takeover of Instagram, for instance, or WhatsApp, that should be reversed, as was done with AT&T all those years back?
I read the book, I think it was No Filter, about Instagram by one of the founders, and they had such high ideals, and the trouble is ideals eventually get consumed by economic power. What leads to more. I've even noticed dissatisfaction. I stopped really using my Instagram. I hated Facebook because I had 5,000 friends I didn't know and got tired of just scrolling through and ignoring it. If I have solitaire, I'm okay. But then Instagram, I only had like a dozen friends that I followed and saw their posts. But now it's getting more and more ads and other things in the way, and I'm sorry. I'd like to. I'm just, I fall in that category, just wanting. It's like I listen on the radio to some satellite music channels in the United States where there are no ads. There's no interruption, and it's beautiful. And they have DJs and they pick their own music, and you hear unusual things you didn't know about. So and it's harder and harder on the internet stuff to get that kind of an experience.
What's your view of the recent antitrust case that has been filed against Google?
It's way too late and way too little. Against most of these companies. I might even include Apple to some extent. Yeah.
Right. And I think that at the core of the antitrust case is the presence of the Google search function on the iPhone, right? I mean, that's very lucrative for Apple. Any thoughts on that?
I'm not sure what the question was exactly. I go back to the antitrust suit against Microsoft, which was largely based on the fact that they didn't really give you a choice very easily of browser. You got AOL was a big service, and it would come standard with Internet Explorer, and then they really messed up the internet because they went away from the HTML, which is the science of web browsers. And they went away from it with their own little weird additions, and then websites would come up with hackers, not really professionals, developing websites that would use those things. And so, in the end, a lot of websites wouldn't work if you used Netscape. It was, and basically, and they were a monopoly because if you had Windows or whatever it was, that you were kind of stuck with a bunch of Windows software and you couldn't switch. There weren't equivalent ones. You couldn't really switch platforms, so that made them a monopoly, and this was considered antitrust action. Okay, let's look at Google now and building Chrome, kind of forcing you to Chrome, forcing you to the Google browser, in on other products when there are choices, but you tend to take the defaults. Maybe 90% of the people just don't even say, I want to use something different. And that's a shame because you know what? Google will even say, we don't release any of your information. Yeah, they keep it for themselves. And everything you type in Chrome, every website you visited, even if you use a VPN, which encrypts all your data so nobody can read your data, when you type it into Chrome, at least Chrome has it. So Google could potentially have it. And these things, I don't know, we're just too easy to be taken advantage of as consumers. And I'd like to see that cut way back and really, regulation's the only thing that's going to help. Look at the United States. We have a constitution, and the first 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights. Freedom of speech, freedom of press, all that comes out of Bill of Rights, security in your home from warrantless searches. Those are, if you think about it, they are regulation, but they aren't regulating a business to limiting its what it can do and what it can't do. It's regulating, saying you cannot do bad things. You, the government, are not allowed to pass certain laws that would be bad. That's a good kind of regulation. That's what regulation should be looked at, not just we're going to interfere and not let you be free in your business. No, we're just going to not let you do bad things.
So one quick question on Walter Isaacson's biography of Steve Jobs, and one of the things, for example, about Apple offices is supposed to be the fact that they were designed in such a way that people could bump into each other in corridors or at the water cooler, and that's where the best ideas would come from. So in this context, what is your view of work from home, which has become which I guess all of us are doing right now? And do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? I mean,
Yeah. Actually, I worked at Hewlett-Packard before Apple, and we had deliberate twice-a-day meetings around the equivalent of a water cooler. It was a bunch of coffee and donuts would be rolled in, and that was the purpose behind it. And I told Steve about that, so his comments probably came from my earlier descriptions, and that was a really good thing. And I don't know, I think today that applies just as well. But now we have COVID, so we're at home. But you know what? Back then, we didn't have the internet, the social networks, the video sharing, the Zoom conferences. So now it's really, you can be pretty close and have those kind of chats. And not only that, you can go offline and individually. It's so trivial now. And say, I want to chat, let's the three of us go talk about some ideas. So the sharing of ideas of what can be done is still open. It's just that maybe people don't do it as much as when, the accidents of the old days. But I found the most useful conversations I had was at Apple for thinking about new ideas and new product and what we could do. We'd be out to lunch, just a group of maybe 6 of us, and we'd just be chatting around ideas. And we'd almost think, wow, that would be incredible. And then, but what's important is not thinking of the idea. It's actually going out and doing it and getting to work and turning some of those ideas into real things.
Sure. I just had one more question, if I can squeeze that in. I think you've been quoted in the past as saying that Indians sometimes, or some Indians, measure success with academic excellence and a good job, but lack creativity. Do you see that changing in the near future?
I'm not sure how I said that, if you got the quote right or not.
I think I have. My research team says that you said that anyway, but yeah.
I said that sort of in regards to very strict control of behavior, like in Singapore, kind of leads you to thinking, I've got to follow the rules and I will be successful in life, and less of the challenging them and doing a little bit of even misbehavior growing up. And sometimes those are the greatest things to really creative people, all the creative people I meet, and talk about those things. Indians, I don't think of that way at all. They are so bright and smart and creative. And Silicon Valley, we live in one of only 10 counties in the entire United States where more than half the people speak non-English at home. So we're just, totally used to all the Asians and Indians and all that. And to me, they're all very smart. I can run in India and you'll never think you're as smart as they are, and creative too. They're in all the positions in companies like Apple. So I do not agree with that statement. And even in regards to Singapore, I got corrected by enough people that there's enough good going on. You know what? You could have 99 million bad, uncreative people and one creative one that totally changes the world.
One of the sort of things which has clearly emerged during this whole COVID crisis is that Asian countries, not South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong, appear to have used technology much better than Western countries, in terms of the contact tracing and so on and so forth. Is there a wider sort of lesson or a wider sort of observation that you can make on this? I mean, that seems obvious just in terms of how they seem to have the thing under control.
For 20 years of my life, I tried to keep up with the latest technology and to see it coming out of Japan and going to the Akihabara twice a year. And everybody on the streets was wearing masks. It was just part of their health culture. It was natural to them. So it's obviously very easy to do. And we we looked at COVID in the United States as, oh, it's a war, but we didn't fight it. We didn't really know that these steps were healthy and good and preventative of these things. I think it was much more natural to the Asian countries who dealt with and overcame prior possible pandemics and epidemics. So we were just behind. We didn't really pay attention to the right people. We thought, oh, we'll just watch it happen in the rest of the world, like a lot of things, and we just didn't take it seriously enough. When you go to fight a war, you should fight it with everything you've got. And I admire those countries that got out there and took a strong stand. You know, we're still in it, though. We're not out of it yet anywhere in the world.
So thank you, Steve. That was a rich interaction. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this.
Best to you.
Well, some sobering thoughts there on the future of tech and data privacy in particular from the legend himself. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Modi. That brings us to the end of this year's edition of the Economic Times Innovation Awards. Once again, a big thank you to our presenting sponsor, SAP Labs, and our knowledge partner, Bain & Company. And finally, a big thank you to all of you, audience members, winners, and nominees. We're so happy that we got a chance to celebrate your brilliance. And we truly hope you keep the flag of innovation flying as we get ready to live in a brave new world. It's been a pleasure being your host for today. Now remember to use the hashtag ET Innovation Awards if you'd like to post about this award. I'm Suresh Venkat, signing off. Thank you for watching.